Hello.
What up?
This is the second episode. It's gonna be a fun time. So we'll just go right into it. So me and Thomas, we met in band,
Oh hell yeah!
in school. We've both been in band for like as long as you can be in band
So, I
since
think fifth grade.
yeah, since like fifth grade. And we also met our first guest in band. Welcome, Vivi.
What's up? It's me, Vivi.
Yeah. So so we're gonna be talking about band today and just like how we got into band, what we did in band throughout school, stuff like that. We're all different ages, so we'll all have different amounts of experience with it and stuff. Do you want to go first? How did you get into band, Vivi?
I started band in fifth grade because that's like when you can start at my school.
Mhm.
And I actually wanted to do percussion at first. I didn't
Ooh.
want to do like any like woodwind or brass instrument. I wanted to do percussion. But then I ended up doing trumpet because I thought it'd be easy because the 3 vowels. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
I was like, it's gonna be easy. So that's how I started basically.
That's pretty cool. What about you?
So, I first wanted to play baritone,
Mhm.
and I played baritone for a week. But I kept taking it home so I could practice.
Mhm.
But when I was a little boy, I was really weak and I could not carry it.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
it was very very difficult. And then so like 2 weeks in, I switched to trumpet because I was like, it's a lot lighter.
That's
And
pretty
then
good.
and I remember I would sometimes skip band on purpose because I would say my trumpet's broken because I wanted to watch a movie because some people didn't have to do band anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so when I couldn't think for a second. So like when we weren't in class, they would be watching a movie and waiting for us to come back. And some days I was like, I really want to watch a movie, so I would skip band.
Was there any reason like that why you wanted to be in band?
It's because I had the worst teacher to exist, Miss Manti,
Oh.
and she made band actually awful.
Mhm.
And then so I just didn't want to be in class with her.
Yeah.
And I remember sixth grade, I wanted to switch to percussion, but she wouldn't let me. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That sucks. I wanted to be in band for the sole reason. So I played clarinet in fifth and sixth grade, or
Yeah.
fifth, sixth, and seventh grade. And the reason why I started on clarinet was because I wanted to be like Squidward.
I feel like that's what everyone does.
Yeah, no, that's like actually the reason. I could have done like anything else. We had like a bunch of different instruments that we could choose from, but I just stuck with clarinet. And I remember, and like it's a thing with clarinet players, you like start, especially with me, since I wanted to be like Squidward. I realized soon that Squidward is not good at clarinet.
Yeah.
He's like actually bad because he's always squeaking. But that's like the actual reason why I wanted to be in it. None of my family, they were like doing stuff with music, but they didn't do like band in like high school or junior high or anything like that. So I was like the first one, I guess.
I just thought it would be cool to be able to play an instrument.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
same.
Mhm.
That's literally why.
I was like, wow, I could look like a badass.
Yeah, with your baritone that you can't hold up.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember, and it's so crazy because like in fifth grade, because that's when it started. I think that's when it starts for most schools.
Yeah, I think so.
Is you can be in band.
Some people do fourth grade, but it's mainly fifth grade.
Yeah.
At Patterson, it was fifth grade.
Yeah, and so like fifth grade, there's like a bunch of people in band, and then sixth grade, there's like 10 people.
Yeah.
At least that's what happened with my
Yeah.
class, because like they were all like the cool kids that were like, oh, band's cool in fifth grade, and then they're like, band's not cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not fun, and then they just leave. But like there are like a couple people that stick behind, which was us, I guess.
Yeah.
So in my sixth grade, I don't know why, we had like 20 trumpets.
Oh jeez.
And it was actually awful because it would be everyone else, you couldn't hear them, and then you just hear trumpets.
Mhm.
But the only people who continued playing trumpet was me and Cyrus.
Oh,
Out of the
nice.
20
Aw.
kids,
That's crazy.
me and Cyrus were the only ones to continue it.
Yeah.
And but when at Patterson, isn't it fourth grade where you have to play orchestra, and then
Yeah.
in fifth grade you can switch to band if you want.
Yeah, I think so.
I would have wanted to join orchestra, but because I joined Patterson later because I moved from a different school,
Mhm.
I didn't get to do it. But I'm
Yeah.
glad I got to do band first. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have gone to band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I remember fifth grade. Like, I was next to this one girl who was one of the popular girls, and we were both like, "We're gonna do the like all region band for like fifth grade or sixth grade or whatever," which I think was like super small or something, and we didn't. that year. And then the next year we were like, we're gonna do it this year actually. And I became friends with Michael that year, my old friend Michael, and he played bass clarinet at that time, and he still does. And we were also like, we're gonna do it, and I was the only one out of the whole band that we had of like 10 people that actually like auditioned, and I made it. And yeah, I don't know why, and I don't know how, because I didn't do very good. And but my teacher was like so cool. His name was Mr. Colden. He always wore skinny jeans, and yeah, he's so cool. And he was like my favorite teacher at that school, and I like only saw him for like an hour or two out of the week. And because I think like band in elementary school is like Tuesday, Thursday for like half an hour or something. Yeah.
It was so he was there 4th grade, and then he left 5th grade. And I remember I first joined band because my teacher, his name was Mr. Aguilar, and he was the raddest dude. But the people would keep coming in, like seeing how he worked, and they just didn't like the way he was, because he was just like chill. Even though that was like the best thing about him, like he was like chill, but he taught us how to play. And but they fired him. Yeah. And then Miss Manti came. She was actually the worst human being to exist. I thought Canadians were supposed to be nice. She's the meanest Canadian I've ever met.
I remember seeing her when the jazz band went on tour in my freshman year.
Yeah.
And she seems okay, but that's because I'm like, she has to seem nice to people from outside schools.
She actually sucks. She's the reason why my brother doesn't do band anymore, because she ruined it for him.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But I remember for my freshman year, I remember when it was the step up night for concert and honors band, and I remember Miss Manti was there, and I was like, I don't want to be seen with her. And then I remember Q overheard me. She was like, "Oh, but she's the nicest lady," and I'm like, "No, she's not. She's the reason why my brother quit band."
Yeah. Oh man.
My band director sucked too in elementary school. His name was Mr. Wells. I thought he'd be cool. Everyone called him like Wells Fargo, whatever. No, he sucked. Like every other day, he'd make someone cry.
Oh, that's
like he was just bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wells Fargo sucks.
I don't know. I don't go to it.
Yeah, I don't go there.
Yeah.
I go State Farm. Wait, that's not the same thing. I'm at Chase.
Bank of America.
So I had Mr. Colden 5th and 6th grade, and I think he retired.
Yeah, he retired.
He retired like the year I got out of elementary school.
Even though like he kept coming back to Patterson for some reason.
Which is good, because he's a great teacher and a great person.
He would it was great when he came, because Miss Manti would actually be nice to us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, I have a story about choir.
Choir. Oh yeah, you were in choir.
Yes, because in 6th grade, it became mandatory for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade students to do choir. So I was in that lucky bunch of people who had to do it, and I remember it was we had the first song we sang was I think I might have been Don't Stop Believing. That's what it was. And but I remember before the concert we had to think of a name for our whole choir.
I remember you telling me about this.
And so we had like a week to put in names and vote for them. And but our votes didn't matter. It was just what she wanted. Yeah. And she was like, "Okay, it's official. Our choir name is the Squeaker Squad."
That's not good.
And then so now if you go to Patterson, there's a banner up there that says "Home of the Squeaker Squad."
Ah, gross.
So I'm part of that legacy.
That's a pretty good legacy.
It is a pretty good legacy. I can say I was once part of the Squeaker Squad. I remember we had to do a medley of like 5 different songs.
Yeah.
We did Centuries by Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
Then we had to do some country song.
Ooh.
And then we had to do a song by Maroon 5. Oh, it was only 4 songs. And the last song we had to sing Radioactive.
Ooh, that's a fun one. Yeah,
it was a good one. And then after that we had to do Living on a Prayer. And like we had to sing the whole song. And I remember Miss Manti, she was like, "Okay, we're gonna make this look super cool, so at the very last part of the song, you guys," and I was part of it, are gonna go off stage and stand on the sides.
That's pretty cool.
And so I had to stand on the sides, and I just like didn't want to sing because I could only hear myself singing and no one else.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah. Oh, and that was at a concert, right? Oh,
Ooh.
gross. Yeah, we never had to do choir. There wasn't even a choir when I was in elementary school.
Yeah, because I started at my 6th grade.
Yeah, and I remember because I didn't even know choir was a thing until I got into elementary school, because then they like segregated the band and like music stuff, and then junior high I had Mrs. Parker.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have Mrs. Parker.
Oh, I did.
For 1
Oh,
year.
you did.
Right?
For 1 year, and you had Mrs. Parker for 2
both
years.
years.
Yeah,
I
didn't.
Mr. Denny second year.
I didn't really like Mrs. Parker, mostly because 7th and 8th grade I was like in between instruments the whole time, and in 7th grade I wanted to play oboe, which is kind of like clarinet but it's a little harder, and she's an oboe player but she wouldn't help me, like she wouldn't teach me at all. She threw me in a practice room and made me learn it myself. And the worst thing about it is I was practicing for just one song that we were going to play at the concert, and it was like a fast, like upbeat hype song. And I was practicing it and I got really good at it, and then the day before the concert she was like, I want you to play oboe on this song, which was a ballad. And so I was like all down with like playing loud and stuff. And then I had to practice the ballad, and it was awful because when I came in, I had a solo. I came in way too loud.
No.
This was at the concert, and it's the first time I ever played it with the band. I played it way too loud, and it sounded but like if I played it at the right like level of noise, it would have sounded way better. And after the concert, we would always like listen to the tape of the concert or like watch it if there was a video. And she would have us before each song raise our hand when like we heard something bad or something we could fix. And when my solo came in, everyone raised their hands. Yeah. And I was standing right next to Mrs. Parker, and I heard her just go, oh shit. Yeah. And it was the worst. Like I don't care now just because I don't play it anymore.
Yeah.
I eventually switched to tuba in 8th grade, and I got way better at that. But that's like most of my stories with Mrs. Parker. I just don't really like her. She made me practice tuba by myself too.
I remember in 7th grade, she made like it was the first concert, and like you know how she like made everyone tune. Well, she went up to me, and because I had Miss Manti as a teacher, she didn't really teach us. She was just like, try and play this, and like she would like show us a bunch of songs, and like the day before the concert, she'd be like, we're actually gonna play all these songs instead. So I never like really learned, and so I didn't like know how to tune very well. And I remember I felt really embarrassed after that. But then she like helped me somewhat.
Yeah.
And then so I became a better trumpet player. And then I remember I was like last chair, and then I beat Cyrus.
Nice.
And then I became third chair.
Nice.
And I'm still proud of that moment.
Hashtag sorry, Cyrus.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And now I'm a pretty good trumpet player.
Yeah, she was okay. Like I didn't love her, but also didn't hate her. She's kind of just whatever.
Mr. Denny though, oof. He's a good man. I really love him.
Yeah,
He's so good.
I wish I had him for at least 1 year because he seemed really cool.
He was fantastic. He was just fun. That was
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But there was this kid named Sean in my grade, and like any day like he was pissed off, it was because of him, and it was actually awful. One day he threw we had a sub, and he thought it would be hilarious to throw carrots at the sub. And then so the next day Mr. Denny came in. It was the worst day ever, and I remember he was like, Sean, can I talk to you? And we could just hear him screaming in the office. I was like, oh man, Mr. Denny. And then I had him in my guitar class, and well, not Sean, like he was my guitar teacher, and he's the reason why guitar was great.
Yeah.
And I was also the best student in there, so.
And that's when you did your
solo.
Solo. Yeah. Oh, that's a great story. I remember I think I was a freshman when Mrs. Parker retired, and there was like a big concert that was like for her retirement or whatever.
Yeah.
And she had all the people that were in the band before come back and play a song or two while she conducted it. And like I think I was part of that, and there were like a couple other people, and it was like the weirdest thing because it was like such a huge like concert because there were so many people there because she brought back like so many people, so like there were like barely any seats for anyone. And at the end, or I remember there was like a jazz band thing where anyone could come up and do a solo, and it was the worst because it went on for so long.
I remember Brandon like ran to go do like a drum solo, and like, as soon as he got to the drums, it was like, nah, like we're done. And
it went for way too long. Like because she had almost everyone do a solo that
there was,
wanted
like,
to.
two mics, and like if you wanted to, you just go up and play, and there's like a long line.
Yeah, and then at the end, a bunch of people wanted to do like a thank you over the mic or something, and that line was long too. Like the concert went on for like 3 hours or something like that. It was like super long.
Yeah.
Oh man, and I hated it because it was so boring too. Just because like we only wanted to be here for this one song that we were playing, and we don't want to wait for 5 billion people to talk about how Miss Parker's cool, or to talk about how, or to do a jazz solo for like 16 measures.
I remember me and Grace, we made her like a plaque. It was alright. It was like the best, but like we tried our best, but we had to go to her husband, Mr. Parker. Do you guys remember him?
He's
like the
scary.
bald guy.
I never had.
He always scared me.
Yeah, he was so scared. We had to go after school for like a week straight, and he'd just help us with it. It was like the worst thing ever. He was so weird. He just always gave me like really bad vibes.
Yeah, I had him in like wood shop before.
Yeah, that's what he did. Yeah, like wood shop.
He would always scare me. Like you have to like go up to him if you're like done with your project, and I would like wait weeks until I went up to him because I didn't want to talk to him.
He'd go from like 0 to 100 so fast.
Yeah.
He was scary.
Yeah. But that leads us into high school. I got into high school first.
Yeah.
Because I'm cooler than you guys.
Yeah.
Let me think. Freshman year. So our band director was named Q, or well, wasn't named Q, but that's what we call her. And I was playing tuba like full time at that time, and we had marching band, and I don't really remember much from that, honestly. Like the show was fine. It was called Retrograde, and it was about like going back in time and stuff, or like rewinding stuff, and that was pretty cool. There isn't like any like drama or anything noteworthy, at least. But marching band was fine. Honors band, or I wasn't in honors band. Concert band was fine. And then we had jazz band. And jazz band was great because it was me. Because there's like Jazz 1 and Jazz 2, and Jazz 2 is the worst jazz band.
Yeah. We got to talk about Jazz 2.
Yeah, you guys got a lot to talk about Jazz 2. I was never in Jazz 2.
Oh.
I've always been in Jazz 1. And Jazz 1 freshman year was the best year of jazz band. At least maybe not. It might be better this year. I hope it is. Yeah. And so freshman year it was great because it was me, 2 other freshmen, and then everyone else was like basically seniors. And so we were just all really good. I played trombone. And it was the only year that I did it, and the last year that we did the jazz tour, where we went to all the elementary schools around the neighborhood or around Skyline, and we went to Smith.
Yeah, I remember.
You might have seen it, yeah. And we just played a bunch of different songs. It was so cool because we took the whole day off. We got food at like Wendy's or something, and we just drove around the entire day. It was like an actual tour, but just in like a 5-mile radius.
Yeah.
But that was probably like the best part about band my freshman year. And then you came into band your freshman year.
Yeah, when you were like a sophomore.
Yeah, I was a sophomore.
Yeah.
You got any stories about your freshman year in band?
No.
We didn't really talk that much freshman year. We just started talking like basically this year.
Yeah, basically this year.
Yeah.
I talked to you a little bit like my sophomore year, but not as much as this year.
Yeah.
No, not really. I just did marching band. I remember I was like on the fence about doing concert band, and then I remember Q came up to me and told me to do concert band. And I told her I'd think about it, and I just never did.
Yeah.
I never put it on my schedule.
You've never done like any concert or honors bands, right?
Not in high school, no. In junior high I did it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I told her I'd think about it, and I just never did. And ever since that day, she'd like gave me like the silent treatment.
Yeah.
Like she didn't like me because of that, but I just
Uh-huh.
didn't want to do it. I thought
Yeah.
it'd be too much band.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a lot.
because with marching band, that's already like your whole life first semester.
Yeah,
and then
it
second
is.
semester, I was like, nah. So I just never did it. And
Were you in jazz band your freshman year?
yeah, jazz too.
Mhm.
I remember jazz too. Yeah.
Are
That
there
was
any stories about
terrible.
that year for jazz too? Because I know there are a lot the next year.
Yeah, the next year. No, I just remember like I was so mad because I thought I did so good and I
Mhm.
didn't get it. But
Yeah.
I remember I had Ben. It was for the trumpets. It was me, Benny, Laura, and
Oh,
Bree.
man.
You know Bree.
Oh yeah.
So that was like really interesting. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I just remember like Laura would be on her phone all the time. Benny would always try to like outshine everyone.
It's like so many people that didn't play trumpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, because no one else played trumpet except for me, she made me like section leader, I guess.
And that's how like jazz too is. It's just all the people that don't know how to play the instrument.
Yeah.
Except it was you, me, and Austin my freshman
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Yeah, so she made me like section leader, I guess, and
Uh-huh.
that was just like the worst because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "How do I do this?" And I'm like, "I don't know how to teach." I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Oh, it's so stressful.
Yeah, it was crazy. I hated it so much. Yeah, it was bad.
What about? So you came in the next year.
I did come in the next year.
I was junior. You were a sophomore.
Mhm.
Thomas is a freshman.
I can say that you always wanted me to go to your house, but I was never able to because every time you asked me, I was always grounded.
Yeah.
You'd be like, "Hey, want to come to my house?" And I said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
do." And then I would say, "I'm grounded."
Yeah, because I always, for every single year that I've been at Skyline, I wanted to get one freshman to hang out with, like at least once to spend the night at my house.
That was me.
Yeah, and that was you.
And then I started staying the night at your house like every week.
Yeah, and so my sophomore year, it was CJ, which
Yeah.
it was fine while like when we hung out, and then my junior year it was you.
Yeah.
You came over a little bit that year, and then this year it's Daniel because Daniel's great.
Daniel's great.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I always wanted to pick one person every single year.
And it was me.
Yeah. Do you have
Such a lucky boy.
any stuff for freshman year that you want to talk about?
I feel like my freshman year was like full of a bunch of drama.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, we can talk about drama.
there was a lot. Like
There's
a lot.
what's the most dramatic thing?
I'm trying to think.
Unless you don't want to talk about it.
I'm like I need to think about what it is.
Yeah.
And, like who it's about before I mention it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
that's
we can
true.
probably come to that one.
One thing we could talk about is the U of A award. Was that last year? Yeah, the one in the trash.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
So Q. I don't know the full story behind it,
Yeah.
but basically the gist was that everyone talked about was, we went to NAU or U of A for a competition and we got a bad score there, and we got good scores every other competition beforehand, and we got a bad score at that one, but then when we got that, we got an award for it, and apparently Q threw it in the trash can, or that's what people say. I don't know everything about it.
Yeah,
And someone went in to take it out of the trash can, and then she just put it back in there. And it was this whole thing where a bunch of people were against Q, and were like, they want her like fired for it.
Mhm.
It was like it was blown way out of
blown
proportion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. And so like a bunch of people wanted her fired and went up to like administration about it and stuff, and it wasn't even a big deal at all.
Mm-mm.
Like everyone was just like, oh, we don't like this person, let's just try and ruin her life.
Yeah.
And I remember like actually talking to her and being like, I have nothing to do with this, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
And then she was like, thank you. Because it was just like a mess, and it wasn't even a big deal at all. Like I don't care about the awards we get, I care about the score.
Mhm.
But that was just crazy.
While I try to think of things, I could definitely talk about jazz band.
Oh, yeah, you guys can talk about that.
So I remember I wanted to audition for guitar and jazz band, and but the day the auditions came, I didn't do it because I was like, I'm not ready for it, and like I think it's already like too much for me.
Yeah.
And then I remember Q just gave me a bunch of shit about it. She's like, you waste my time, and I was like,
damn,
fuck you. And then I remember I played trumpet for jazz too, and our section like our section was a good section. Like
Yeah, we were the best.
we
Yeah.
were the best section in there, and like we actually got everything done and
Mhm.
knew how to play.
Yeah.
But like we didn't really try to play because we didn't care,
Yeah.
honestly.
Because it was jazz too.
Yeah, but I remember we would like walk in and be like, we'd be like, "What's up?" And then we would basically fall asleep in the back. And
Nice.
then
Yeah.
Because
one
well,
day,
you had Mr. Zenner, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and like
he's
he
a great
would
man.
always have to work with the saxophones
Because they like
they
sax.
were-
Yeah.
Those
They're
those
so
are
bad.
those are all like the people that didn't know how to play
Yeah.
saxophone.
Yeah, like we'd walk in and we'd like run through the songs just to like see what we had to work on, and then after that, like we'd play a song, and then after that we'd just like chill out in the back,
Yeah,
and you
for the
just
whole
work with
time.
saxes.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I remember one day I saw Vivi like actually depressed. Like, she was so sad. I've never seen her that sad before. Like she walked in and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "No."
Yeah. Yeah.
She was just leaning back, and then she just like looked like she was about to break out crying.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't consider myself like a very sad person, but
Yeah.
that just like
That was really bad.
killed me.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then you also got that legendary cutout of me just standing up.
Oh
there
yeah.
at
That's a
one of our
great. That's a
performances.
great picture.
I was just very sad up there.
It was
Yeah.
so
Oh,
sad.
it was like, and I remember watching it, and it was fine. It was just like I could tell, like I could sense your guys' hatred for it.
Yeah.
Like the entire time, me and all the people in the audience were like looking at you guys in the back because you guys could just like we could tell you hated it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just stood there, and I remember we would fuck around the whole time
Yeah.
during the concert.
Yeah.
We didn't care.
Yeah.
We were like, I know, like you're not supposed to do that, and like I understand, but like we actually
Like,
were fucking depressed.
The last
Yeah.
concert, we're like, we don't care. I remember, like, I don't know who it was. Someone messed up bad on their solo. We looked at each other and we just laughed.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
we didn't care.
Oh, I remember. I think I
Yeah,
remember
we
that.
laughed, and then I remember afterwards, my mom's like,
My mom told me to.
"Yeah," she's like, "You laughed up there." And I was like,
yeah,
"Yeah,
my
I
mom
did."
was like, "Why did you laugh?" And I was like, "I laughed." She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's so disrespectful." And I was like, "I didn't even know." I was like,
Yeah,
I just didn't care.
My favorite thing about jazz bands is like it doesn't really matter what you do.
Yeah.
Like because I dance a lot when like during performances
Yeah,
and
I
even
love that.
during
Yeah.
even during practice I dance a lot. And so like I've got because like freshman year and sophomore year I wouldn't dance at all.
But then junior year.
Yeah, junior year because I was with Trevor in Jazz One.
Yeah.
And so like we like hype each other up all the time. And I remember after a concert last year, you like came up to me and were like, "Oh, I wish someone looked at me the way you look at Trevor."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that sticks with me all the time because like it's true."
Yeah.
Because like we both hype each other up all the time, and whenever we do solos and like we're nervous about it, we're just like, "No, you got this."
Yeah.
And that's like my favorite thing because like especially now jazz band's gonna be with like a bunch of people that I like.
Mhm.
It's gonna be like everyone is like gonna encourage each other all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, Parker said that if he needs me for jazz band, then like if for a certain song, then he would let me do it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But
Mhm.
also I get to sleep in now, which is
Yeah.
great.
That's
Yeah,
so good. Yeah.
I was that's what I was thinking because I wanted to not do jazz band this year, but that's because I didn't know that Q was gonna retire or not retire. She was gonna move schools.
Mhm.
And so I originally wasn't gonna do it. But then Parker came in, and he's like a jazz guy. Like
Yeah.
he studied jazz 100%. And so like I was like, yeah, I'm doing jazz band, like without a doubt, because I know that he already has like so many people like that can come in to help us,
Mhm.
and we had like none last year, like 0 or 1.
Mhm.
And so I'm just like super excited because jazz band's like my favorite band class, and jazz is just so good.
Yeah.
I just didn't like jazz because of my experience. with
Yeah. My
jazz,
experience
too.
is really bad.
It's like,
Yeah,
it kind of
yeah.
just like kind of ruined jazz.
That
for
makes
me.
sense.
I
That
like listening to jazz, but like playing it, no,
Like
it
recently,
just
like
ruined it.
I've been able to listen to jazz again, but like during that time, I was like, jazz is a disgrace to me.
yeah.
It was so bad.
I like couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Remember we had to fucking play the Toy Story theme?
Oh,
Yes!
it's so
Oh my
bad. I had to
gosh.
play
Oh my
that.
God.
I had to play that freshman year, and it's the
That was
worst.
terrible. What was it like? You got a friend in me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he gave
Oh,
us
it
the saxophone
sucks.
part because the saxophones couldn't play it.
Yeah.
So he had to like transcribe it, and I was like, this is awful.
Yeah.
Because like we
hated
learned
that song.
we learned our part, and it was like a week before the concert, and he was
Mhm.
like, here's the saxophone part,
Yeah.
and we were like, shit.
Because now we actually had to like do something.
Yeah.
No, but I remember we also did Zoot Suit Riot,
Mm.
No.
and I love that song.
That's a great
But
song.
We
we did
messed it up so bad.
Uh-huh.
We did it when I was I think in like 8th grade. We
Uh-huh.
did Zoot Suit Riot, and it sounded better than we could do it when
Oh,
we were, like,
jeez.
in high school. It was terrible. It was
Yeah.
so sad.
It was just the Jazz 2 just didn't have good people in it.
I think that's like a good description of that year because last year was like really bad, just in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Like, cause like marching band, like the show was really good
Yeah.
because it was Tipping Point,
Oh,
right?
yeah, last year that was
Yeah.
like the best.
That
show,
was
I
the
think.
best show we've probably had,
Mhm.
or we've had since I've been here at
Yeah.
least. And so like, but the drama was
It was
just a
awful.
lot. There was just so much drama. There were a lot of people that fought a lot.
Mhm.
Like I remember, I hated everyone in my section in marching band. I still do.
I can tolerate like Vivi and Cyrus the most.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But like,
they're the only people I talk to in the section
Yeah,
because like they're the good people.
yeah, and there was tons of drama with like a bunch of people hating Q, which
Mm-hmm.
like Q's fine in my eyes. Like I can talk to her as like a person,
Yeah.
but like as a teacher, I would probably prefer someone else. Honestly, I don't know. Is there any drama that you could think of, or we could just head into this year?
I mean, we could head into this year.
No, but I want to tell a story of when we were in Jazz 2. We had like, I think for like our final, we had to get in like groups and then
I remember this.
perform like a song of our choice. Like he'd
Yeah.
give us like options and we'd pick one. So it was just gonna be me, Thomas, and Austin just
Mhm.
doing it, but then no one picked Ashton, so we
Yeah.
just let him come into our group, and we learned the song in like 2 days. I don't even remember what song it was,
Yeah.
but we learned it in like 2 days. And then when it came to like performing it, he's like, "All right, what's your guys' group name?" And we're like, "Oh, we need a group name." And then Thomas was like, "We're the what'd you say? The Yeatles."
We're the Yeatles.
He's like, "We're the Yeatles." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then I remember Maroney was like, "The Needles." And we're like, "Yeah, sure, the
Yeah.
Needles." But I just remember that like so clearly. That was like my favorite thing. that
Yeah,
happened.
I remember we would like just sit in there and do nothing. We would be listening to like fucking I can't think.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. We'd be listening to that and then we'd see him coming and we're like shit. And so we'd all like pick up our trumpets and then he'd be like, "Can I hear what
This part or
Yeah, can I
something?
hear
Yeah.
this part?" And we would just play it even though we never played it before.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, it sounds perfect."
And
He's like, "Yeah, that's great. I'm gonna go work with sax." And I remember one time, I think it was like the first time we went into sectionals, we watched SpongeBob in like 50 different languages.
Yeah.
Like we had that much time to kill.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez, that's great.
Yeah.
I always hated that because at the end of the year there like has to be like a final
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
and it's like just get into groups, and there's always like
Yeah, the concert band final for last year.
the
This
finals for
16
concert.
measures of ass.
Yeah, the finals for concert band and honors band are like a whole nother story because my freshman year we had to do, or I don't think we had to do anything my freshman year, or we might have, I just don't remember. Sophomore year was the worst because we had to get a song, which we chose Clocks by what's the band? I can't even. Coldplay.
Yeah.
We chose that one. I think it was Clocks or one of the other ones, and we had to take a song and we chose that one, and we had to like transcribe it and make it different. And so we had to do that, and then we had to practice it and record it, like on a computer. And so we made it, and then we tried to put it all into MuseScore, and it sounded awful. And so then we tried to practice it, and it sounded awful. And then we were in the process of recording it, and we tried to just record it, all of us, at once. And then we were like, that's not going to work because none of us know how to play this at the same time as everyone. And so we just had to record it individually and then piece it together. And we couldn't do that at all. And so it was just like shit all over the place. And then we submitted it. And I don't remember what grade we got on. We probably got an A just because everyone's was like the worst. I remember they had like a sax group that was like Lucas and Don were like the main two, and they were doing Hard Knock Life from Annie, and they had the same problems with us that they had to record it individually, and they accidentally submitted it with at the end of the end was them talking about how they hated it and how it sounded awful, and in the background when they're talking, you could just hear Don and Lucas just go like, "Fuck, shit, it's awful," and and they were hoping that Q didn't even hear that, but I'm pretty sure she did. But that was just the worst. And then last year was way easier, but it was bad because each individual person had to make a song,
and
then everyone had to perform it for each person's song.
Yeah, my song was 16 measures of ass with another 32 measures of just Creighton doing a solo.
Oh, nice.
And then the last measure was just Noah. He hit a gong.
Nice.
But I remember I named my song "Nut Free Zone."
Yeah.
And then I remember one of the Kenneth, I think that was his name. He was in my group, and then he named his song. He made a song in one day. It was on 420. He came into band and he was so fucking high.
Yeah.
And then he was like,
great.
then he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna write my song right now." So he made his most famous song, "Gelato" by Two Phones.
I remember my song was called Wet Finger. They like literally everyone named their song something weird.
Stupid.
Yeah, it was
And
so,
I remember
so
Creighton
dumb.
made his song, and then he was bored, so he made a song that was very fast, and it was called Banjo Pop. And it was the best song ever, but it's gone now.
I remember that freshman year my project was we just had to make a song and we had to play it ourselves.
Yeah.
And Brian's song was called Sacrificial Lamb. And last year he was in band too, and he named his song Sacrificial Lamb too. And then it was weird because Q actually remembered that that's what his song was freshman year. Oh man.
I miss Brian in marching band. That was so cool.
Brian's
My
great.
freshman year he was there. And it was like the best.
Yeah.
Brian's great.
Yeah.
He is great.
I always remember. I have a great story about coming to Smith actually from Skyline. I think it was 2 years ago. The marching band came to Smith and like performed at lunch or something.
Yeah.
And we had to take our sousaphones and put them on the bus. And I remember I took it off and we just did the whole thing. We did the whole performance. And then I put my tuba back in its case and then went on the bus to put it back in. And I lifted it up over the seat and swung it around into the seat. And it hit, like the little nub on the end hit the window and cracked the window. And it happened and I just left. I just straight up bailed.
So like that run.
Yeah. Yeah, like actually. And so I hit it and then I just went out and then they found out like when we got back to Skyline and then Q was like, Kevin, did you hit your sousaphone on the window? And I was like, not that I know of, even though I clearly knew. And so it was like a whole thing where we had to like pay them some kind of money. And it was like a mess. But I just remember like telling everyone that I did it and then telling Q that I didn't know about it.
It's like, I don't recall.
Yeah, that was basically what happened. I don't recall me hitting the window with my tuba.
Oh, it doesn't sound familiar.
We should go into this year. Because so at the end of last year, Q announced that she was going to go to Dobson.
And I remember everyone, like a bunch of people were crying. And I was like,
a lot of people were crying.
Like, why?
I was kind of sad just because like I liked her as a person.
Yeah. But like it was fun.
Yeah, but it was good for her that she did that.
The main reason why I was like worried about her leaving because I was like, I don't know who our band director is gonna be. But then one day I saw it was Parker, and I was like,
so there was like a whole thing where apparently like all the other people in the performing arts department got to pick who the next person was, who the next band director was, and we had this tech for Pitt named Parker who had been there all the years I've been there, and he just graduated from ASU, but he didn't graduate with like a teaching diploma. He graduated for performance, which is really weird because he got the job, and normally no one would ever get the job for having a performance degree.
Yeah,
like they need like some sort of teaching degree or like music degree. But he just had a performance degree and he got the job. And he's like, yeah, it's great because he was like one of the coolest people to me. I had talked to him a bunch beforehand, like all the other years before. And he actually had like a class with us freshman year because we didn't have a winter drumline. We just had like a winter percussion class. And so he's like the pit guy. And so he taught us a bunch of pit stuff. And we did a performance for him because he had like a performance at ASU for like just him. and we performed there too, and it was super cool. And he's like so good at drums.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone better that I know that's as good as him at drums. But yeah, he got the job, and I remember when I woke up and I saw the notification on my phone, like on the group chat on Facebook. I like saw it and I opened it, and then I saw that it was Parker, and I woke up and ran to Trevor, and I was like, dude, and he was like, I know. Like, it was just like the greatest feeling.
I remember I was like, yo, Parker's lit.
Yeah, he's so cool.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think this marching season will probably be my favorite
Mm-hmm.
because of what you and me did in the stands, where we just like either were very loud. Like the first game, I lost my voice.
So did I. Yeah.
Yeah, we both lost our voice because of how much we were screaming.
Yeah, because it was like the years before with Q, it was like super strict for in the stands, and like we couldn't do anything.
We couldn't
like
sit down.
we couldn't sit down. We couldn't be on our phones, which we still couldn't really be on our phones last year or this year, which was fine. Like it's not a big deal, but we couldn't really like have much fun.
Yeah, we kind of had to just stand there.
Yeah, and so this year we just like went all out. So, especially since it was my last year, I wanted to like get the best experience for it. So I was just like did whatever the fuck I could. I was just like screaming, playing random shit on my tuba during random songs.
One of the games, you and me switched instruments, and that was great.
Yeah. And then like it wasn't even like Parker didn't really even care.
No, he didn't care.
Yeah. And then I remember one of the games, or like we tried to most games, but the last fight song we had to play every game, we would just dance so much. Like we would just dance way more, because normally it's just like a sway back and forth.
Yeah.
But
we would actually lose
we would just like do any dance we could think of, and it was the best.
The week before the homecoming game, that was the greatest game, and it was also the game I almost shit myself.
Oh, you should talk about that actually.
Okay, so a week before homecoming, I was like, man, I want to ask this one girl the homecoming, and so I talked to our friend Christina about it, and then she was like, oh, I'm gonna help you think of an idea to ask her, and then she was like, what if in the stands, I'll be conducting, and I'll tell the band to play Hey Baby, but when we get to the Hey Baby part, we'll say, hey Savvy, I want to know if you'll go to Hoko or whatever. Yeah. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be the greatest idea ever. And I remember the whole week before it, our friend Luke told me, like, he was like, Savvy keeps saying that she's not gonna go to homecoming with anyone, and that she's gonna go to Highlands with her friend. Yeah. And then I was like, shit. So the whole week up to it, I was like just thinking, should I do it or not? But we told Parker, and I was like, I feel like I have to do it now.
Yeah,
just because he knows about it.
I remember you were texting me a bunch about it, and
Yeah,
I have a quote from when he decided to do it, and this is his exact quote. So I was like, do it, and then he was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and this is what he sent. I'm finna do it. No fucking regrets. It's gonna be lit as fuck. I'm finna get lit as a finna fuck YOLO.
Wow.
That's exactly what he sent, and it's like the best poetry I've ever heard.
And
then you did it.
I did it. But I remember the game up, like when the day came. I remember I was like fine the first half of the game, and then halftime came, and then we watched the other band show, and then after they finished, I was like, fuck.
I was like nervous for you.
I was because like I was thinking the whole time, like, she could say no. There's a big possibility she's gonna say no, because she keeps saying she's not gonna go to Skylines.
Yeah, like I'm getting nervous now.
Same. I'm shaking.
I remember because we were playing a song right before the song Hey Baby, and I was like dancing a bunch to it, and I got lightheaded because of how nervous I was. I was so nervous. I remember both me and you, we like almost fell onto each other.
Yeah,
because of how much we were dancing and how like nervous we were.
Yeah,
it was insane.
And then
I've never been that nervous for something that didn't affect me.
I've never been that nervous for anything before. Yeah. But I remember it was before we went back to the stands. I like went up to you and I'm like, Kevin, I'm about to have a fucking panic attack.
Yeah, and I was like, me too.
And then I was like crying at one point because of how much I was freaking out. You're like, you got this.
Yeah, I was trying to hype you up so much because I was trying to hype you up so I could feel better because I was going crazy too.
And then
it was like the craziest football game ever.
Yeah, and then I remember Christina looked at me and was like, she pointed at me and she's like, it's time. And I remember I looked at you and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then I remember I went down there, and then you guys started playing Hey Baby, and I started dancing to this dance. I was like, this is gonna make me feel better. And I got up there, and then I held up the sign, but Crane was in the fucking way.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like,
And then
Crane,
Savvy
move.
wasn't even looking either.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah.
wasn't even looking up there. And then Trevor was like, "Hey."
Yeah, he was like, look.
And then she looked up there, and she's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then I went down, and I was like, I think I just shit myself. And then I went over there, and I was like, "Yo, I fucking did it." And then it was just a fantastic moment. Like I was so
It
happy.
was like it gave me and you the greatest relief of our lives.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because if she said no, like I remember me and you talking about like if she said no, that it would just be like fuck.
Yeah, I was
Like,
like
what's gonna happen?
I'd
now?
be like I would never show my face.
Yeah,
again.
I was like I remember I think I said if she says no, fuck her. Like I was like she better say yes or I'm gonna like die.
I was like, there's no way she could say no. But I remember before we even went to the game, Luke, he pulled me into a practice room and was like, Thomas, do you want to do this? Like, she could say no,
I know.
and this could be actually awful.
Yeah.
I remember telling you too. I was like, "Are you mentally prepared that if she says no?"
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
I-
"Are you prepared?" And you're like, "Yeah." And then I was like, "Okay."
And then the game came, and I was like, no.
Yeah. It was like so weird too because I remember at the beginning of the game going to everyone in my section being like this is gonna happen
Yeah.
and like everyone was like oh cool and I was like yeah
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah it's really cool
Because like that was actually terrifying. Because
Yeah.
there was a big possibility she was gonna say no.
yeah
Good thing she liked me.
yeah and then we went to homecoming and it was
And I mean,
it was good for you.
It was great for me, but it was
The
bad for
actual
you.
event was really
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
bad.
It was boring.
But then it was great for me
Mhm.
because
And then
it
we
was a
went
great
to
night.
Soda Rush and McDonald's.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. The whole thing was great.
It was pretty good.
I almost shit myself.
The pictures were the best part for me.
Yeah, the pictures I think were.
We took a picture with all of us dabbing.
Yeah, that was
That's
pretty
one
good.
of my favorites.
I think that's my background on Facebook.
It's really good.
And then I remember Justin took photos with us.
Yeah, he
Oh,
didn't even go to
yeah.
homecoming.
Oh yeah.
He like bought like suspenders and a bow tie just for it, but then he never even went because I think it was
Yeah.
Grace's birthday.
Yeah,
or
it was.
something.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
got
we went to
stuck
go get
there.
sushi.
Yeah.
He was like they started a movie, like they went to a movie, and he was like, I didn't think it was gonna go this late.
Yeah.
So I'm just not gonna show up. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But like his mom was like getting mad at him because like he wouldn't like go to dances, whatever.
Yeah.
So he went.
It took pictures.
Yep.
Yeah.
For proof that
Yeah.
that he
That he
Yeah.
went.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stands were cool. I remember
love the stands.
with Tyler when we tried taking pictures.
Oh, yeah.
outside.
Every single game.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, and I had the picture of Tyler on my tuba,
Yeah.
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 and I had it on there for like almost every
I
football
have a
game.
video. Yeah.
Yeah,
when we went
I
to
remember I almost kept it on during state.
Tyler.
like we were at the state festival, and like I had this picture of Tyler the Creator on my tuba for like the longest time.
Yeah.
And I always forgot to take it off, and I had it on for like 3 football games
Yeah,
and
I
like
remember.
4 pep rallies,
Mhm.
and I don't remember like anyone saying anything. Like Parker never even said anything.
Yeah.
And then I finally remembered to take it off when I was putting my tuba in its case.
Tyler.
We're
is,
big fans. We're big
Yeah,
fans.
we're
Oh, we are
fans.
big fans.
Me
Yeah.
and- Me and Vivi, we just wanted to take a picture every single game with.
And then you
Yeah.
guys would forget all
we
the
did
time.
like
We-
4 games.
Yeah, we did like the
and then we
first 4
stopped.
games, and then,
Yeah.
and then we forgot about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I forgot to bring him to our final competition, which sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I told you to bring him to the band banquet, and you're like, okay. And I texted him like 5 minutes before. I was like, did you bring him? And I remember you just said like, oh crap, or something.
Yeah,
like
because I
that.
was already on my way there,
Yeah.
and then I was like, shit.
Yeah, but we got like 4 good photos with him.
We gotta try again next year.
Yeah.
We do.
I just got into Tyler the Creator this year, actually.
I got like I've heard him before, but I got really into it because of Vivi.
Hmm
Mhm.
When did you first hear about him?
Me, I've been listening to him since 6th grade.
Really?
Yeah, my sister.
How'd you hear about him? Your sister?
Yeah, my sister. She like the song that she always play. It was like Odd Toddlers. It's like such an old song.
Mhm.
And she just got me into him, and then I was like, "Yeah, dude, this guy's like the best." And
Yeah.
I've listened to him since 6th grade, literally.
Mhm.
And I've listened to all of his albums
Me too.
multiple times.
I've only
Yeah,
listened
same.
to all of his albums once. I've listened to Flower Boy a bunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Flower Boy is a good one to listen
Yeah,
to.
but
Yeah.
like I have this thing where if I get into a band or an artist, I have to listen to everything they've made like,
Mhm.
chronologically from when they made it. And so I did that with Tyler, and I think Bastard is my favorite
What
album.
did I do? I think
Yeah.
even though it's not on Spotify.
Yeah.
which
that sucks. I hate
Yeah,
that
because it's
so
my
much.
favorite.
It's not even on Apple Music or
Mhm.
whatever, so like you have to go on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's because like some samples are copyrighted or
Yeah.
something.
Mm.
Because that's what happens with a bunch of other artists.
But I remember this is the order I listened to it from. I listened to Flower Boy. Like I've heard some of his songs, but I never listened to his full albums.
Mhm.
So I listened to Flower Boy. Then I think I listened to Goblin, and then Wolf, and then Cherry Bomb. And I don't care what people say, I fucking love Cherry Bomb.
Cherry Bomb's
Cherry
great.
Bomb is really good. I feel like Cherry Bomb kind of got stuck in the shadow of Flower Boy just because
Yeah.
Flower
Yeah.
Boy was like great.
I like want to know how he's gonna top Flower Boy.
I
Yeah.
know. I
Like
don't. I really don't know how.
I think people say that Cherry Bomb's bad just because of how it's produced, because
Yeah.
it's produced specifically to make it sound bad.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that that's why it sounds
he
bad.
said that he just like wanted to make music.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
random ass
They
shit.
they just think it sounds bad on accident when it sounded poorly produced on purpose.
and not even all the songs on it are like supposed to sound bad. Like some of them are actually like
They're
Yeah.
really good.
really good.
Yeah.
Find Your Wings.
That's a good
Oh.
one.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
My favorite.
I still remember when the music video for what was it? What was the song that came out?
See.
Oh
Yeah, See You Again.
And then at
Yeah,
the end,
I remember. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I remember. I still remember when that first came out because I think I first watched it at your birthday or something.
Yeah,
Because
we-
you guys
we-
were telling me to watch it a
Yeah,
bunch,
you're like,
and
"You
I
have to."
always forgot to watch it. And then we finally all three watched it at your birthday, and it was like the best.
It's really
It was
good.
really good because at the very end when he takes off the sheet, he just becomes a
He's
bunch
just
of
like,
bees.
I
It's like-
rock, and I'm like,
Oh,
wow.
It's so good. And then you had a picture of Tyler on your birthday cake,
and
right?
that's
Mhm,
where the
That's where we got the picture. Yeah.
And then when we were doing when we were singing Happy Birthday or whatever,
Yeah.
you played I Ain't Got Time
Yep.
He
just
says,
for that part.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That music video is great. I love that music video.
Yeah, I just love like everything that he has.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like my favorite songs on the album.
Especially where he makes the waffles. That
Oh
video.
yeah.
No.
It's like the cinnamon waffles
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
How much time?
A pan.
pan.
I want that as like my text tone.
A pan.
Just
Okay.
whenever someone texts me, just a pan.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you could do that.
Maybe you probably could.
I remember I made Tyler's waffles one time and I sent it to Thomas.
You sent it to
and
me too, yeah.
The whole like process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually really good.
I want to try.
We should just see if we can make them after we are done with this.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
not even being biased or anything. Like
They
it
were
was actually
really-
Yeah,
really
I
good.
might have cinnamon, so we can do that. Okay, so it's about that time to wrap it up. Do you
Okay.
have one story that you want to tell?
Yeah, this story's great. This happened in 6th grade. My dad bought like this little mini dirt bike that's made for like a 6-year-old,
Yeah.
and I don't know why I had the audacity to just ride it all the time, even though I was like way too big for it.
Yeah.
So I remember one day I was like in the neighborhood. My mom was like in the front yard. She's like, "Yeah, you can ride it. You know, I'm gonna be watching you." And I was like, "Okay." So she was like talking to my neighbor, who's like, she's like an old lady.
Mhm.
And I was just going crazy, right? Like riding it. She's like, "All right, this is the last lap." So I was like, "All right, I gotta make the best of it."
Mhm.
So I remember I just like booked it. Like I like slammed it. I was like, "Let's go!" And I was going so fast. And I don't know why I thought to stop. I was like, "I'm just gonna put my foot down."
Oh,
Instead
no.
of like hitting the brakes. I'm like, "I'm just gonna put my foot on the cement." So I
Yeah.
just like
On
put
the
my
cement.
I don't know how to say cement. So I put my foot like on the ground, and the bike just flew from under me,
Oh.
and I like skidded on
Oh.
like the ground, and it was like the worst thing ever.
Damn.
And my neighbor saw, so it was like so
Oh.
embarrassing.
It was your last lap too.
I know, and
You
it
didn't
was
get to finish
terrible.
it.
It was terrible, terrible, terrible. I ripped off like the first 3 layers
Oh,
of my knee,
jeez.
and I remember I
That
went
sounds
inside.
painful.
It was terrible. I remember I went inside, and my mom was like, "We have to like wash it off, or I was just gonna get infected."
Yeah.
And you're just like,
It was terrible. Yeah, I was like,
You're
"Oh
just
my
actually
gosh."
dead.
Yeah, I was like dead. I
I would have
remember
been like, just cut off my leg. Out.
Yeah.
it hurt so bad.
Yeah.
I remember my dad was like taking selfies. He's like taking pictures. He's like,
Hey.
yeah, and I was
Gotta
like,
capture the moment.
it was so bad. And I remember that. I think like a week after that happened, like it was just starting to heal, and I had auditions for a talent show that I was gonna
Oh, I remember
do.
you told me about this.
Yeah. I had auditions for a talent show. I was gonna do my 6th grade year, and so during that, it was
What
like
were
a little
you
dance.
gonna do? A dance?
It was a dance. Yeah, me and my
Wow.
cousin did a dance to Beyonce.
Mhm.
I forgot what song it was, but at the auditions, my scab ripped open.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about
Yeah,
this.
it like ripped
And didn't
open.
it just like bleed?
It just
everywhere?
bled everywhere. It
Oh,
like bled
God.
through my leggings. It was so bad. Still made it into the talent show though.
nice.
So
Did
Yeah.
you win the talent show?
no, it was
Oh.
like 6th grade, so like no one really won. You know,
Oh,
it was
that's
like
just
they're
like-
all
yeah,
like
it's
winners.
It's just like, here's
Oh,
your participation.
that's
yeah, I'm like,
stupid.
nah, like I won. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
For that scab, you definitely won.
yeah, it was really bad. And I remember I had the nickname all like through 6th grade year, dinosaur knees. And it was the worst thing ever. Like people would be like, dinosaur knees, because the scab was just like all scaly looking. I don't know, it was gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone called me dinosaur knees. And then
man.
now at home, if I get my little sister mad at, like if my little sister gets mad at me, she calls me dinosaur knees, because that just like gives me like the worst PTSD
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. My name is Vivi.
Yeah, she's like, dinosaur knees, leave me alone. I'm like, don't call me that. Yeah.
Oh man,
But yeah.
That's not my name.
that's a great story.
Yeah, it's my
That's a great way
story.
to end off, actually.
Yeah.
That's a funny one.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
see you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next
Goodbye.
time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.